Hello everyone, and on this cold dank morning, welcome back to some more Rumbleslam, which I believe will be shown first to channel members. Thank you for the extra support that you're able to spare. I understand not everyone is able to, but really thank you to those of you who do and continue to do the memberships. And if you can't do it, that's okay. Everyone will see this eventually. It's just available a little bit early to channel members. And we're back with some new models on the table. One of them is gigantic and has some very, very specific rules we're going to go over in a second. And both team values are roughly the million. I believe the team on the right is a million on the dot. This is 975, but we're going to give both sides a event card as well, just because the randomness is kind of fun. So, because they don't fit into any one particular casino, they've got two from the Rolling Bones and two from a casino that was added after the rulebook was written with the kind of the Mexican theme. I don't remember offhand what it's called. We're just going to call this Team Green because three of them are green and the other one has green parts on him. So from the starter box we have the two goblins. We have the Goblin Brawler, who's kind of doing the, well, he's almost dabbing. And then we have the Goblin Grappler, who's kind of doing the, well, what is it pose from Dark Souls. Then at the back we have two that are from this casino I was talking about, called Peyote Pete, who is very clearly based on a cactuar from Final Fantasy, but apparently also Cactus Jack. It was Mankind's alternative persona, wasn't it? Either way, he looks like a cactuar, so that's what I mostly familiarise myself with. And then we've got Pipinyama, which I'll probably just call Pinata because I'm not 100% sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. He is absolutely gigantic. He is weight 5. The large base characters we've seen to this point are weight 3. He's 5 because he is filled with candy, and he has some interesting rules. His health is bracketed into sections of 3, so when he goes down a bracket, his weight goes down as well because he's getting lighter as the candy flies out of him. So he starts very dangerous for when it comes to pins, but as he loses candy, it will become easier to resist him. He is also unique in the sense that anytime he is hit, you have to roll a crowd die, and depending on the result, either you get to pick someone to get healed a little bit because they eat the candy, or the opponent gets to pick someone to eat the candy and heal a little bit. And a third unique thing, his allies can attack him. If they would desperately want to heal, they can smack him upside the head to try and steal some candy. Again, at the cost of reducing his weight. Very interesting playstyle. Those two use the newer style cards, by the way, which look like this. They're about twice the size of the old ones, but they have all the relevant information for their special attacks on the front, which is very handy. It has a number, so you don't need to sit and count how much HP they have. Still tells you their AP and movement points. On the back, you still have to look for their passives and their crowd pleaser. But, oh, there's what it's called, the Muti Carlo. That's what the casino's called. I didn't realise it even had that written. So, much better. You can get old characters done in newer cards, but you have to, I think you can get them for free, but you have to print them off yourself, or you can pay TTCombat to ship them out to you as well. So the other team on the table this time, not sure what to call it really, because 3 out of the 4 of them are from Rolling Bones. I guess we could just go with that. And Chuck does kind of fit in by being all creepy and weird, but he's not really undead. So we'll go with Rolling Bones because 3 out of 4 of them are Rolling Bones. We have the Gravedigger, we have the Mummy, and we have the Zombie. You can also buy some square bases. They used to do circular bases. These are really old. So I might have to try and pick them up and swap the bases just because it is a bit annoying that they don't match. But we've seen Chuck, we've seen the Gravedigger. They both did very well in their first showing. Now they're teammates. I think they were against each other last time with a couple of undead helpers, just to bring things along. I feel like this is the best flow for the game, to have a couple of like tough named guys maybe, or just a big guy, and then have a couple of chaff people. That feels like the right size to me. But anyway, that's the two sides that are going to go at it today. They'll get deployed in their corners, and then we'll be back and see whose dex rolls are getting rolled. This video is sponsored by Noble Knight Games. Check out the video description below for an affiliate link that will take you through to their store, and it will help me out as well. Thanks. So here we are at the top of the game with dex rolls done. I think I mentioned but didn't show, both sides do have event cards. I have not looked at them. They're not allowed to be used until at the earliest the start of the second turn. For the Rolling Bones side, they selected the Zombie, who rolls a silver and a bronze for his dex roll. He rolled very well with it, in fact, and got 5. The Goblin Grappler, that is, what is it is Goblin Grappler. He rolls 3 bronze, and he was selected. He came close actually, he got 4 to his 5, but the Zombie did win the roll-off, so they'll be going first as the bell rings. Pins and throwouts count. If it goes the distance, which it has to date, It's the value of conscious players left in the ring after 5 turns. Not a bombastic start to the match, as all the zombie did was make use of its 4 movement to go 1, 2, 3, 4, well technically 3 because it could go diagonal, and just stopped right there. It doesn't want to move in too close, because until Pipimyana takes some damage, that early pin is very possible, because he'd be rolling 5 copper dice, and against a conscious person, let's say they're of a standard weight 2, which 3 out of them are, all of them are weight 2 actually, so if they were full health, they'd be rolling 2, 4. So he'd still be rolling more, so it would still almost be a straight roll, but he could actually win that. So he is very dangerous until he starts taking damage. So the Goblin Grappler had to activate, he moved out, he has 5 movement to play with and 5 AP, but again he also didn't want to be the first one to get engaged upon, they only have 4 health. So he stepped to where you can see him and then spent 2 AP, because his popularity 2, on activating his Crowd Pleaser, and he rolled a cheer, so he does get it, and this wrestler's throw becomes 4 until the end of his next activation. So until the end of his turn 2 activation, his throw 2 becomes throw 4, so I guess he just finds like a burst of strength. Probably not going to be super relevant, but it's something. Well, the Goblin Grappler thought he was safe, but no one is safe from Chuck. Nobody is safe from a scary clown. There's always a way for him to get you. He moved out for 1. He paid 1 of his 4 AP to bounce off the rope for 5. Now, he does have a special rope bounce, but that uses up all his AP, and you can't do anything after hitting it. So he bounced up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He still had 3 movement left. 1, 2. He moved there. He still has 1 movement left, but he then spent 2 AP across 2 brawl attacks. He's not going to do a third one. The first one, he rolls 2 gold plus 1, by the way. He's very, very good at just punching someone. That's why his hands are bloody. So he rolled a 3 and a 4, but it's actually 8 because of the plus 1. And the Goblin Grappler rolls a single bronze, so he rolled 0. So the first attack actually lost by 8. Totally forgot the plus 1 when calculating that, actually. Which means the second attack didn't need to happen, so we'll pretend it didn't, although as it turns out it was a draw. Because he beat him by 8, opponent instantly reduces stamina to 0. Oh, well then, in that case, 1 brawl attack was enough. That Chuck just picked him up and just slammed him into the ground and punched him a couple times. Well, that means that he is free to try and pin him instantly, because he's only used 1 AP to bounce off the rope, 1 AP to punch. So we're going to roll out a pin attempt and see if immediately this poor goblin is off the table. Well, that was unexpected. I did not realise Chuck could reach him for 1, or that his defence was so terrible. But he's pinned. 2 beats 1. You only get to roll 1 if you're unconscious. He's weight 1 anyway because he's tiny. So the Goblin Grappler is out of there, and Chuck is a heel, so he doesn't care if people hate him, but he does have a heel's equivalent of a Crowd Pleaser. He's looking for a boo and he got it. Pick an enemy wrestler and immediately move them up to 3 squares. That wrestler then gains -1 movement point. Let's move 1, 2, 3. Let's move Pipinara down there. It might mean he can reach the zombie. Oh, sorry, we'll pull back to show where he ended up. Pipinara, or Pipimyama, was moved down there. It'll probably mean he can reach the zombie, but it also means that if he goes after the zombie, the Gravedigger can get him. So that's what we want. And a -1 MP counter? Yep. Okay, so he'll be -1 move when he activates, because he hasn't activated yet. So it was Peyote Pete who came out to play, not Pipimyama, moving in such a way that his 4 movement got him adjacent to Chuck, and then he used his special ability called 10,000 Needles. You just treat it as an attack. It's an attack roll of a bronze silver for him, going up against Chuck's defense of 2 silver, and he got 5 to Chuck's 3, so it did get through for 2 damage, -1 AP counter, -1 movement counter, and bleeding, which I don't think we've seen yet, so we needed to look up what bleeding is. A successful action with this special rule inflicts the bleeding condition. Place a bleeding counter on the affected wrestler, although we'll be putting it on his card just for keeping the clutter on the table clear. A wrestler with a bleeding counter must roll a crowd die at the start of their activation. On a cheer result, the bleeding stops and the counter is removed. On a boo or a blank, the counter stays in play and the wrestler takes 1 damage. It automatically goes away if he is KO'd. So after that, Peyote Pete spent his last AP because doing 10,000 Needles costs 3 out of his 4. He just did a basic brawl attack. He also rolls 2 gold. No +1, but he does roll 2 gold. So he got 5 to Chuck's defense of 3, meaning that he took 1 more damage. So all in all, Chuck is down from his maximum 8 stamina to 5 remaining, bleeding, and next time he activates, he's only got 3 movement points and 3 AP. So Priority Pete came out swinging. The Monster Movie Marvel Mummy activated next, and immediately spent 1 of his 4 AP to bounce off the rope 5, and then his 4 movement got him into the opposite corner's turnbuckle. He doesn't have enough to climb the rope and then do his turnbuckle attack this turn, so he decided not to climb up, because there is actually rules for attacking somebody that's on top of a turnbuckle, and they have a chance to fall out the ring, I think. Haven't fully looked into it, but I know it's dangerous. So instead of climbing it this turn, because if he has maximum AP, he has enough to do that next turn, he spent 2 AP on his crowd pleaser, which he did get on the roll of a cheer because he's not a heel, and it is pick a friendly wrestler. That wrestler immediately removes a knockdown counter and replenishes 1 stamina. Obviously no one on their team is knocked down, but Chuck is replenishing 1 stamina, going back to 6 remaining, just to make sure he's okay. So because of dice limitations, we're going to have to do the Goblin Brawler's turn in 2 parts here. He started by paying 1 of his 5 AP to bounce off the rope. Then he moved into position by using a couple of his 5 movement points, and then spent 2 AP on his special rope attack called Pin Missile. It has a rocket roll, so he could have fired forwards 8. He went into Chuck. It rolls 2 silver plus 1, so he got 3. It did get through against Chuck, which means he takes 2 damage. There's no special rules that affect the person getting hit by this attack, although there is a special rule where if it fails to do any damage to the opponent, if it fails to hit, the Goblin Brawler takes 1 damage because he just bounces off their pecs, I guess, or abdominal muscles. So his turn isn't over. He's used a total of 3 AP, 1 to do the initial bounce and then 2 to do that one, yep. So he has enough left to do 2 basic brawl attacks. He only rolls 2 bronze. Oh, I thought he rolled a silver. Well, doesn't matter. He'll be rolling 2 bronze against Chuck twice. That's a little dangerous for fear of a reversal, but he's going for it because Chuck's health is getting down there. Well, with that all rolled out, he actually did pretty well. He got 3 on his first roll to Chuck's 1, which is 1 more stamina damage. He's down to 3 remaining. Second one though, he got 3, so did Chuck, so that's a draw with nothing done. But still pretty good. So last activation of the first turn for the Rolling Bone side, or largely Rolling Bone side, was the Gravedigger. He moved 2, and then he spent 1 of his 4 AP to bounce off the rope 5. He moved his last 2 to get into base to base with Pipinyama, and that's where we have to talk about what he did. He paid 2 of his remaining 3 AP on doing his special roll, which we didn't see any time he's been on, called Deadeye. Cost 2, pick an enemy wrestler in base contact and roll 2 copper. On a 1+, he got 2, so it did work. That wrestler has their movement points reduced to 0 during its next activation, so Pipinyama, who is the last one to activate, can't move. So he's kind of stuck. It does mean the Gravedigger's going to have to take the blows, but it also rules out the zombie or the mummy getting picked on. He only has 1 AP left after that, so he spent it on a basic brawl attack just to try and do something, rolling 2 silver, 1 copper. Copper was a blank, so it's just been removed because of how many dice the game comes with. Pipinyama rolls 3 copper, and he actually managed to beat the attack roll by 1. So no damage there at all, but it's over to him now, and he just has to stand and fight. I don't think you can even do... oh no, he's next to the rope, so he could do a rope attack because he's touching the rope already. And he has a special one, so we might see that in a second. Alright, we weren't going to do Pipinyama's turn in parts, but we have to because of what just happened initially. He has 4 AP, 0 movement points because of the Deadeye. He spent 2, so half of his AP on Viva, which has the rocket special roll, but that's not relevant. It's an off the rope attack for 3 silver dice for 2 damage, but he almost perfect rolled the 3 silver dice. If that had been a 3 pip as well, or 3 success, that would have been maximum possible damage on 3 silver dice at 9. As it is, he got 8. The Gravedigger rolled 2 blanks on his gold and bronze. Thankfully, it isn't a difference of 8 because it's gold, bronze plus 1. So it's a difference of 7, but that still means plus 2 extra damage, and more importantly, knocked down, although the base damage of that attack is 2. So he has taken 4 damage of his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he has 5 left, which is over half, so that will affect the number of copper dice he's about to roll. But that weight 5 pinata is about to fall on the Undertaker and pin him. Alright, so we're part way through this ridiculousness. Pipinyama has passed the crowd check. The crowd is on his side to see if he is allowed to try and pin a wrestler who is not unconscious. And this is the roll for the Gravedigger, unfortunately. 2 copper dice for his weight, 1 extra because he has at least half his stamina remaining. He only got 1 success though, and now Pipinyama gets to roll all 5 copper dice the game comes with because he is currently weight 5. So, good luck. Well, the last one rolled off, but it was a blank. Yeah, that's 5. Well then, alright, that means a few things happen. Well, first of all, let's write him up. The Gravedigger just got pinned turn 1. I expect it to happen to a Goblin. I don't expect it to happen to the Undertaker. I didn't realise Brock Lesnar was hiding in that pinyar. Then he gets his crowd, please, or rather he tries to get the crowd, please. Nope. They were on his side to attempt it, but not on his side to achieve it. If he had got it, for the record, you roll 1 gold and he heals by that much. But, doesn't matter. And he hasn't been hit yet, so we haven't even had to cover his other rolls when he gets hit, because you have to do a roll every time he's hit. Or every time he takes damage, sorry. That is a massive blow to the Rolling Bones. Good grief. That is ridiculous. But that does take us to the end of the first turn right there. Wow. Well, after a first round like that, this might actually be the one that doesn't go the full distance, because how do you resist a weight 5 wrestler sitting on you, I guess? I said Brock Lesnar, it should have been Yokozuna or whatever he was called. R.I.P. Anyway, turn 2, both sides are going to use their event cards, because why not? This is totally off the rails. The Mummy was selected to try and go first with his dex roll of silver bronze. Did pretty well with a 4, but Pipinyama was like, and he rolls 3 gold for his dexterity, and managed to get a casual 8. So he will be going first in the second turn. But first we have these 2 event cards. This is the event card for Team Green. What is it? It is tonight only Gut Shot. Pick a friendly wrestler. The next attack this wrestler makes gains the knock. No, that's so good for Pipinyama. Well, I think we know who's getting that. His next attack. So it doesn't matter what type of attack it has. It just innately has the knockdown special rule. That is... oof. This better be a good event card for Rolling Bones. What is it? Let's see. You're fired! Your opponent picks one of your wrestlers at the end of the game. If the wrestler is still in the ring, roll a crowd die. If you roll a cheer, it has no effect. If you roll a blank or a boo, that wrestler counts as being thrown out the ring? What, you're firing me? That horse wasn't even full of anything dangerous. Quoted by Trojan, I get it. That's terrible. Not all event cards are good. Some of them are neutral and some of them are just plain bad against you, and this is one of them. So it would make the most sense to pick who is most likely to be the most sturdy or most likely to survive. Chuck's in a lot of danger over there, so the Mummy is being selected, I guess. So if the Mummy is still in the ring at the end of turn 5, he will count as if he was not. That's real bad, but it's nowhere near as bad as Pipinyama having a free knockdown on a basic attack if he wanted to, especially because he's about to activate. Oh dear. So Pipinyama activated and was a little unclear if you're allowed to do a named attack if you know it won't hit anyone, because he needs to use the rocket rule to get where he ended up. So he had to do his special off the rope attack called Viva, which we've seen already because he did it into the Gravedigger. So he moved 1, he did that, which means it has the rocket roll, so he shot 8. He doesn't hit anybody, but presumably you're still allowed to. He spent his AP to do it. And then he used up the rest of his movement to move adjacent to Chuck. He has 2 AP left because he spent 2 of it on the Viva. He did a basic brawl, he rolls 2 silver, and unfortunately for Chuck, he rolled blanks. It's only 1 damage, but it has the knockdown roll, and he has 2 stamina left. Haven't knocked him over because it's a bit awkward. Have already made Chuck's attempt to get unpinned roll though. 2 for his weight, 1 extra because he has... actually, does he have at least half? Oh, I think he might only have had to roll 2. Let's see. It might not end up mattering. 1 copper for every point of weight. Adds 1 if it has at least half. No, he doesn't have at least half. He has less than half. So it would have just been 2, but there's no way. Let's say it's 2 for now, I guess. But either way, all 5 of these are getting rolled by Peepin... oh no. Well, that's 6, that's 8. So, oh, he wasn't conscious. He wasn't conscious. There's a chance that the rolls never happened. They did happen. Well, does he get his crowd please afterwards? He does. He doesn't need it. He's at full health. Weight 5 Pipinyama has just pinned poor old Chuck as well. And that does not bode well for the Mummy and the zombie left on the table. Good. Like, he does count as weight 5. Says it on his card. There he is, weight 5, right there. Weight 5. Every time this wrestler loses 3 stamina from its starting number, it loses 1 weight. For example, if it's on 6 stamina, it weighs 2. 3 stamina is weight 1. It never loses its impact special roll. And if it regains stamina, it can go back up a weight class. Friendly wrestlers can attack this enemy wrestler as if it was an enemy. Yeah. If the wrestler loses 3 stamina from its starting number, it loses 1 weight. Yeah, so if it was on 6, which would be the halfway point. Yeah, I was just double checking that he doesn't still count as weight 3 even if he's full health. No, it says 5 on the card. He is weight 5. And it's definitely 1 copper for each weight. Yeah, okay, well, Chuck's out of there. Woof. So we are still going to play on as if that happened, but there is actually a problem with how it went down, because the way the event is worded, it's the next attack the wrestler makes, not the next successful attack. That means that when Pipinyama bounced off the ropes to get over there, that was his attack. Didn't hit anybody, but it was still an attack, which means when he hit Chuck with the brawl, it was just a brawl. It succeeded, but it didn't succeed by enough that he would naturally be knocked down. And the event card, here it is, the gut shot one. The next attack this wrestler makes. Misremembered and thought it said the next successful attack. We're going to play on that that's the case, because his turn would have been completely different. Otherwise, he would have walked down this end of the table, done Viva off the rope, hit into the zombie, pinned the zombie with ease. So that's what he would have done. Granted, that would have meant Chuck is still on the table. We can't say for sure the dice would have went that way, of course. But we're still going to play on, but that was a mistake. Well, the mummy had to activate. He spent 1 AP to bounce off the rope because there was nobody in turnbuckle attack range. He moved 2 steps and then spent another 1 to bounce off the ropes, doing a basic rope attack into Peyote Pete. So it's normally 1 silver 2 copper, but it gets 2 silver 1 copper. Gets an extra copper for bouncing off the rope, and actually did manage to get through Peyote Pete's defense for 1 stamina damage of his. How much does he have? He has 8, so he has 7 remaining. And let's see, he bounced for 1, and he bounced again for 1. He can do a basic brawl, so they've got to do something. We'll see how his basic brawl does. Incidentally, if you ever lift or grapple Peyote Pete, or he does those things to you, he bleeds you. Well, that was simple enough to roll out, just attack versus defense, so 2 silver 1 copper versus 2 silver. He did it, so Peyote Pete is down to 6 stamina remaining, but it's over to either him or the Goblin Brawler now. So he's a little hard to see because he's very, very small, but it was the Goblin Brawler who activated. Moving up against the back end rope of the ring, he paid 2 to do that pin missile that we talked about earlier. 2 silver plus 1. 2 silver. Why did he roll a copper? 2 silver plus 1. So he got 3, and unfortunately the mummy is 2 silver plus 1 for his defense, so he only rolled 1. It got through for 2 damage, leaving him on 4 stamina. He then spent 2 of his AP, which would have left him with 1, to attempt his crowd pleaser, and the crowd booed him. They're no longer on their side, it's 2 in their favour, so they're booing him. If he had got his crowd pleaser off, it would have counted his attack stat as being gold plus 1 until the end of his next activation, and then he was just going to try and brawl, because as it is, he's only 2 bronze, and going up against 2 silver plus 1, not in his favour. But with the crowd pleaser failing, he's just ending his turn there. So the zombie activated and walked over to Pipinyama and spent 2 of his 4 AP on a suplex. 2 silver, 1 copper, and he rolled 4 versus just 3 bronze dice for Pipinyama's defense. Definitely should have been trying to do damage to him earlier, but it got through. So base damage is 2. If successful, immediately swap positions with the target wrestler. They are also dazed. Can't remember offhand what dazed did. We saw it before though. Let's see. Daze is a successful hit from an attack with this special roll in its description makes the opponent's player roll a crowd die and apply the listed effects to the wrestler. That rolled a boo. The wrestler receives -1 AP and -1 MP counters. That's pretty good. Also, they swap places though. So, whoop. He got suplexed. And now we need to read Pipinyama's card for when he takes damage, because he's taken 2. Let's see. Every time this wrestler loses 1 or more stamina, roll the crowd die on a cheer. Well, let's see what we roll first. It's a boo. On a cheer, choose another wrestler within 3 squares, replenish stamina up to the amount this wrestler lost. On a boo, the opponent doing the damage chooses a wrestler. On a blank, no effect. Unfortunately, the mummy isn't within 3 of Pipinyama, could have healed him, so the only person he can select is the zombie himself. and he's full health. So sadly can't take advantage of that. He's also still weight 5 unless he loses 1 more stamina. So the zombie has only used 2 so far for that suplex. Also the mental image of him suplexing that giant thing is actually hilarious. He's going to do 2 basic brawl attacks, try and do some more damage with the rest of his turn. Well, the zombie's first roll was only a 3, although he got that in the copper die, which is pretty unlikely. That's a 1 in 6 chance. Pipinyama's 3 copper defense. He rolled a 4 though, so no damage there. Haven't rolled his next defense roll because of the number of dice required. The zombie rolled a complete blank on the silver and bronze, which is bad, depending on the result of this. So he got beat by 4, so that is a reversal, and that just means his activation ends immediately, thankfully, which it already was anyway. So I think it's over to Peyote Pete to take us to the end of the turn. Well, Peyote Pete decided to stay where he was, spending 2 of his 4 AP immediately on Prickly Pear Nectar. Roll 1 silver, 1 friendly wrestler within 3 squares replenishes that much stamina. Oh, the dice has been moved. He did roll a 2, and Pipinyama is back to full health, because of course he is. He then spent 2 on double arm DDT on the mummy, which is just 3 copper. He rolled 2, and the mummy's grapple is a silver bronze, and managed to come up with nothing, which means it landed for 2 damage and also dazed him. So we have to roll the crowd please to see how the daze goes, but he's down to 2 stamina remaining, and it's a boo again, which is -1 AP, -1 MP, same as what Pipinyama got. And that takes us to the end of an amazingly quick second turn. Oh, not quite yet, because he successfully did a grapple attack on the mummy. The mummy is also bleeding, amongst everything else that happened to him. So at the top of turn 3, Pipinyama was once again selected as the wrestler's dex roll for Team Green, and he rolled 5 on his 3 gold dice. The mummy was selected to try and give him a chance, and they only rolled 1. So Pipinyama will be going first again. He's very powerful. The new wrestlers are a lot stronger than the old ones, it looks like. But at the same time, he's only 3 copper defense, so yes, should have desperately tried to put damage on him quicker. Talking like it's over, because it basically is. This could be the final turn. Every other video so far has gone the full 5 turns, so it's just that weight 5 is so hard to deal with pins. Well, there is a glimmer of hope they might be able to do something, because Pipinyama basically wasted his turn. -1 movement and AP, so he had 3 and 3. 3 movement with a diagonal, let him get into base to base with the mummy. He attempted to do 2 brawl attacks, and just hoping to do the 2 stamina damage, and then to try a pin with his 3rd and final AP. This is just the result of the second roll, where he rolled nothing against 3 in total, no reversal, but still no damage. The first roll was much the same, so he achieved nothing there. And the mummy's going to activate, and he's bleeding though. So what does he roll? You roll the crowd die. A boo. What does a boo mean? On a blank or a boo, it stays in play and he takes 1 damage. Nice! He has 1 stamina left, so if Pipinyama had done any damage, he could have just fallen dead on the floor right there. He is, as it is, getting a turn though, although he is down to 3 movement points and 3 AP as well. Well, that was a bit of a mixed bag. It's hard to see because of Pipinyama being in the way, but he, with his 3 AP, spent 2 of it to do his crowd pleaser in an attempt to heal, and the crowd booed him, so sadly not. Then he just did a basic brawl for his last AP into the Goblin Brawler because he's weak, and actually did manage to get, is it +1? No, it's not +1. So he got 5, 6, he got 7, they rolled nothing, so it is a difference of 7, so that is 2 damage extra, so 3 in total, plus a knockdown, so we just have to trust that he's over there and knocked down, because I know he can't really be seen. He doesn't have any AP left to go for the pin. He does have AP left to go for a movement points rather, because he hasn't moved at all. He's just going to move 3 in this direction to force someone to chase him. Well, Peyote Pete activated, potentially sacrificing the Goblin Brawler to the zombie, but who cares? From where he was, he used 10,000 needles because it's got range 3, and that spent 3 of his 4 AP, 1 silver, 1 copper. He got 4 versus the mummy's defense of 2. So it does 2 base damage. Actually, does it do 3? No, it does 2, but either way, he had 1 stamina left. So that knocked him out. Then he just walked up to him and then attempted to pin him. No need to roll the crowd die because it's unconscious. He rolled a 3 to the mummy's single success, meaning he is out of there, leaving the zombies the last man standing for the rolling bones. Does he get his crowd pleaser? He does. They liked seeing the cactus do that. His crowd pleaser is Oh yeah, the roll 1 silver die and a friendly wrestler within 3 replenishes that much. I wonder if you can heal yourself, because he's the only one wounded. So 1 silver die. He can heal himself for 1, so he's back to 7 health, or stamina remaining. The Goblin Brawler stood up, walked over to the turnbuckle, paid 1 to stand up on it, and then paid 3 of his, that's all he had after standing up I think. For Green Eagle, it's range 6, it's jumping off the turnbuckle, maximum 6 range. He landed adjacent to his, well, you land on the zombie but then you go adjacent to the person you're attacking. 4 copper dice, he only got 3 successes on the 4 coppers, versus a total of 2 because the defense on the zombie is 2 silver plus 1. Still enough to get through though, for 3 damage, putting him immediately at half stamina. And then that's it, that's his turn over. Peepinyama is definitely going to win a dex roll against the zombie. Well, I shouldn't say that, it's silver copper versus 3 gold, it's just incredibly likely. And then he's going to smush him, probably. I guess we'll see. Let's go into the 4th turn and see. Well, at the top of turn 4, that's why you shouldn't speak too soon, because Peepinyama rolled 3 blanks on 3 gold dice, of which there is 1 blank on these. Yep, there's 1 blank, so that was 3 ones basically, meaning he will not be going first. The zombie will be going first. He gets to try and do something with his 3 successes, so he's got 1 full turn of doing something. I guess he can try to get the Goblin Brawler, who's what? He's got 2 stamina left. Has he lost any stamina? No, because he got knocked down by the difference in... Oh no, it did 2 extra damage, yeah. He's on 3. So he has 1 stamina remaining. So yeah, at the very least he can hopefully just get rid of that goblin and leave the 2 OP feeling characters left in the ring. Well, you know, dice games just sometimes say no. His first attempt at a brawl attack was 2 blanks. The brawler rolled a 1 though, so no reversal, but no damage. Second brawl attack to try and do that 1 stamina damage, he got 3, but on the single copper, so did the brawler, the Goblin Brawler. Then he wanted to do another one, so he appeased, or tried to appease the crowd and said, "Can I brawl this guy one more time?" They booed him. They booed him again. He is traumatized even more so. He's not allowed to attempt to brawl again, so he's basically given up on his will to live, and is ending his turn there, and let's just see what happens to him. And in the ultimate showing of BM, it was the Goblin Brawler who activated and did the exact same turn. He went over, paid 1 to climb the turnbuckle, paid 3 to do Green Eagle, so he still has 1 left. 4 copper, he managed to get 6 versus the total of the zombies 3. That's the 1 hit needed, rather, because it does 3 damage. Yep, that the zombie is unconscious, down and out, and the Goblin Brawler has 1 AP left, so he's going to try and pin him with 1 copper die, which got a 2, versus 1 copper die, which got a blank. So the Goblin Brawler has pinned the zombie to a count of 3, and the rolling bones are tabled. And here are your surviving winners for the first match that didn't go the full 5 turns. It barely made it into the 4th of 5 turns, and there was obviously some bad dice luck for the Rolling Bones side there. Obviously there was, but Peepinyama and Peyote Pete, they are star wrestlers to be fair, but they are newer, and they both seem really good. Like Peyote Pete just handing out bleed, either from people attacking him in certain methods or him attacking them in certain methods. I don't know, you need someone who can like do a really long range turnbuckle attack to really smack into Peepinyama before he gets a chance to engage. Because if he can get a knockdown on somebody, or is teamed with somebody who can get a knockdown on someone, he just flattens them. That's ridiculous. They did really well. The Fortnite Pinata is sick of getting picked on, and now he's taking out his anger in the ring, and they just decimated Chuck, the Gravedigger, and the Mummy and the Zombie. So a very, very comfortable win there for them. They only lost the Goblin Grappler, who is basically 1 copper in every single stat, so that's not a surprise. I'm surprised he's worth 175k considering his stats, I guess, but I think it's because of his crowd pleaser that he wasn't able to do, because his throw 4 is quite significant range, although it's so much easier to just go for the pins, that's the thing. Throws take an extra AP to do, I think, or maybe, I can't quite remember if it's free to pick up an unconscious person. I don't think it is. I think it's just you don't need to roll the crowd pleaser. So pinning just seems easier, and pinning is a thing they added in the 2nd edition of the rules to Rumbleslam. Originally you had to throw everyone out. Games were longer, but pinning feels more natural as well for it being a wrestling thing. Anyway, that is going to do it for this time for Rumbleslam. I sincerely hope you enjoyed, and if you would like to support what we do here on the channel, please do consider becoming a channel member. You do get certain videos early. Everyone will see them eventually, but sometimes you get them early. There is some member-specific stuff, but they're just little things now and then. Or you can check out the channel sponsor if you want to pick up something for yourself. They have Rumbleslam, and if you use the affiliate link in the description box, I will be compensated if you buy something after clicking through from there, so I would appreciate that as well. And next time, one of these days, we're going to have to do like a Royal Rumble setup where it's just star wrestlers, but you have to be thrown out the ring. I could see a bunch of people like rallying together to try and get Peep and Yama out, like that one Royal Rumble where everybody tried to get Yokozuna out of the ring. I think he went on to win it. I don't quite remember. Either way, reminiscing. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again in the future for more. Until then, ta for now.